Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War Judgment, and this is my 3 stars declassified insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. So we're currently on Act 5-3. It is entitled Upper State Street, everybody's favorite chapter. It's actually not too bad though. So this first checkpoint, you can choose which spawn you want. I have the boomers here and the cleaver therons, which can be really annoying because they do have this gift of being able to stack you really well. But if you are having problems on this chapter, I'm going to show you a method that hopefully will abridge or abrogate. Not sure what word it would be the best for that, but hopefully we can get you through this without too many problems. So feel free to use your boom shot and whatever you have over here. The sawed-off shotgun, I would recommend having this. I am going to switch out the boom shot for the bushka after the second checkpoint. But the primary thing that I'm going to show you what you can do to make this a little bit less difficult on the second checkpoint. Okay, so there's going to be five locations where grub holes spawn. The first one is always going to be beneath a car. And I'm not gonna deal with that because I know where that one is, so I'm not gonna deal too much, focus on that. But aside from that one, right, there's 4 other sites where enemies will spawn, and I will show you all of those spots that will spawn those enemies, and I'll show you it because I will be putting the tripwire crossbow bolts on the sites where they spawn or near to where they spawn, because you won't necessarily be able to put the bolts on the sites themselves because the game is keeping those in abeyance, those sites, but you can put the bolts near to where those holes are going to spawn, and since they're in the proximity of them, you'll be able to seal those holes that spawn. So you want to get this cache, refill all of your weapons, reload everything, pick this back up, and if you didn't know, these tripwire crosswire bolts, they will save through the checkpoint. The frag grenades do not. So we can take advantage of the fact that every time we reload off of death or is resetting, these will be here every time for us. So one of the spots is right over here. That's one of them. When you're aiming and then you shoot, you need to make sure that the little arrow is pointing up, because if you shoot it just without that on the reticle, it won't count as being in the ground. So there's another one right where I shot it, and then there's one approximately right there. To the left, that red car that I'm just running past now, that's the site of the first hole that spawns. And then the final one is one over here. So if we can get some of these sealed right away, it will minimize how difficult the fight is, in essence. But it is a difficult fight, just because there's a lot of ragers running at you at once. But the declassified on this is the increased rager offensive and the heavy locust offensive, so you can have more enemies and ragers running after you. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place this turret over here. This is going to help me fend off enemies. I'm going to place it in a position here where it can shoot to the left and straight ahead so that it can damage enemies. You want to approach that. That will signify that the fight's going to start. I placed a grenade right there just for good measure because sometimes they come up there. And then over here you've got the bushka, and there's also a cache over to the left. But this is me restarting after many deaths, and you see the blinking blue bolts? That's them saving through checkpoints. So that's actually really handy, so you don't have to keep doing that every time. But what I then like to do is seal the first hole, and then I will come back here, and this worked out so that there was about, I think, two holes that spawned that I sealed instantaneously. Now, there might have been another one that spawned enemies, but I didn't place it accurately enough. That's entirely possible. But what I like to do is just use the Bushka to... this guy kind of... See how they can just sneak up on you? What you want to do in that case is just quickly switch to your sawed-off. And if you're accurate enough, it's just a one-shot kill for the Ragers. The Ragers is the most contemptible enemy in the game for me. I hate it the most. But you are going to have just a ton of these Ragers coming at you. Maulers. But the good thing is, this turret is incredibly helpful in helping you out in dealing with everything. Now, the bot has to be protected, but as long as he doesn't get to, 0, you're fine. But it is a lot of just multitasking, and it's incredibly chaotic. And if you want, you can avail yourself of a one-shot over here, but I don't like lugging it around all over the place. It just takes too long. But you can avail yourself of that. You might place the turret in a different spot so that the enemies can clip on it as they're going around that corner there, where the Crimson Omen was. But I find that having it assist me in fighting is quite helpful. But that did take, I don't know, at least 10 tries. It's just a lot of stressful things happening so fast. But having the turret help you, those Locust holes getting sealed so that you don't have to do any of that. It's mostly getting it to that the enemies don't have much of a chance to just completely overwhelm me, but even so, they can just completely overrun you, and it's very stressful. But hopefully that did able to help you as much as possible. Just getting those holes sealed. And like I said, I only got the notification for 2 holes getting instantaneously sealed. So there could have been another one that wasn't accurate enough to have that happen, or just I had killed enough enemies so that I didn't spawn any more of those holes. You don't necessarily have to have all those 5 holes spawn, but if you place those bolts in the spots that I showed you, those are all the sites where they spawn, so it shouldn't be a complete catastrophe trying to get this finished. But I just wanted to show exactly what I do, and there's probably better ways to do it. I'm just not aware of those ways. That's just what I do to do it, and hopefully it's not something that's completely difficult for you and you can't do it, but eventually it will all fall into place for you. Anyway, that has been Upper State Street. It's difficult. I'm not going to sit here and say it isn't, because it's quite hard. Doesn't matter what you take into the next stage. It's a weapon-specific one, so they're just going to take whatever you have anyway, and they're going to replace it with a long shot and a bolt talk, and you're going to fend for yourself with those 2 weapons. Difficult is really hard. I'm not gonna lie about that, but we don't need to keep talking about it incessantly. So I will see you in 5-4. Hopefully this helped you in some small way, and until then, please take care.